Welcome into DC On Screen, your guide to the DC Universe on film and television. I am your host, David C. Robertson. This, my stalwart co-host, Jason Goss.
Hello.
Hi. I don't know that I have anything funny to talk about in my personal life this week. How about you? Anything hilarious happen? Anything fun, interesting, anything?
I'll be honest, it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Aside from epic boss Charles McFall of the Giant Sus Team Up Network, the network that we're under, put up an episode of Breaking the Panel and said, after DC On Screen hears this, they'll excommunicate me from the church, because he jokes that we're like his church. Mm-hmm. And apparently all the other hosts like to rag him about how he just listens to everything we say and just has our opinions. But, I listened to it, and...
it's a lot of fun, man. I love that back and forth.
Yeah, it is. I listened to it, though, and he, as far as I could tell, he just said that he hadn't listened to us to find out what our opinion was on the Legends finale. So I really don't... Yeah, I know.
Well...
I told him we turned no lost souls away. Remember last week when there were all those rumors about the 4 different Batman films in 2019?
Oh yeah.
Producer John Berg on Twitter said, "Hey Jeff Johns, why didn't you tell me we were releasing 4 Batman movies in 2019? Can we increase that to 10? And Jeff Johns responds, 27, including Batmite the movie. So I'm going to go ahead and just call that as them putting the kibosh on that rumor.
Right.
Sorry,
that's
guys.
Got to be... No. We're not getting a Batmite movie. It's just not happening.
I wish.
Absolutely, we wish.
Absolutely, we wish.
But you got to mix the spellings. Supergirl. And that's just really as close as we're going to get for a little while.
Probably, yeah. So that should be the point that they're even scared to do Mixus-Pitalik proper in live action on Supergirl.
Yeah, seriously.
Which is, poppycock. Anyway. So, Jose Fernandez of Ironhead Studio was talking about the Batman costume that they created for BVS. He says it took 8 months to make. Several stages went into the process, including a full body scan. About creating costumes, he said, I love the challenge. I really like something that's new. And if I have done it, I like to see where else I can push it. What's the next thing? Now, also on display, though, in the video, is an alien costume / creature, sort of an animatronic thing they've cooked up that they did for Goosebumps, the movie. And they have the Conan O'Brien Comic-Con costume with like the big nipples and the ridiculous crotch piece and everything.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Now, why I bring this up is because he said that he and his company did not get on-screen credit on BVS. So because they did some amazing work, and I'm going to put the YouTube link in the show notes so you can go check out the full interview, because I think it's a really cool thing. I think it's something they should, be given props on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Armie Hammer talked to Collider briefly about trolling the fans as far as being Green Lantern. Mm-hmm. He says, man, geez, it was fun for a while, and now I'm convinced that everyone's going to turn on me. So I'm like, oh shit, slowly backing away. He says, as far as playing Hal Jordan or any other Green Lantern, he says, I have nothing to confirm nor deny. The only talk of me being Green Lantern that I have heard in my life has come from social media.
Yeah, that sounds right. It was funny, and then it was way too much maintenance.
Mm-hmm. And The Rock was on MTV. I almost said that in a Walken-esque fashion. The Rock!
The Rock!
I don't know what that was.
No, nothing.
Both of us were terrible.
Yeah.
Forget you heard any of that.
Yeah.
MTV News, he was talking about the fate of the Furious, and they're doing all that. It's the world premiere that they were at, and he talked a little bit about Black Adam. He says, we've had great discussions with Jeff Johns over at DC. This is a really fun, cool time for DC right now because they are world building. We're seeing that with Wonder Woman and Aquaman. We have a few surprises down the line. So what we decided to do was to create a scenario where Black Adam has this standalone movie, and Captain Marvel, Shazam, has his standalone movie. We're building our world that way, and then we can come together at some point. So, according to The Rock, as of this week, those rumors about Shazam not having a movie are not true. Like, they're still planning on the Shazam movie.
Gotcha.
Hooray!
I'm down. I mean, it's been long enough.
Yeah.
Great. He's a great character.
Black Adam or The Rock?
Both. Well, well done. Shazam and Black Adam are both characters that I think could support a movie, and I think Dwayne Johnson could support both movies if he had to.
Sure, I think he could.
That man carries things.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's very strong. So, Gal Gadot was interviewed in W Magazine. She also had a quite extensive photo shoot. If you're a person, you should go check that out, because I think everyone thinks she's attractive, so it's not a bad photo shoot. But she had a really cool interview in there, and I'll also link to the full article, because there's a whole lot of stuff in there. But here's some highlights. She talked about auditioning for BVS. She said she didn't know it was for Wonder Woman. She said, Zack Snyder asked me to do a camera test. That was torture. They were looking at 6 or 7 girls, and we were all in separate trailers, and we were told to stay inside until they called us. Waiting is my enemy number one, and I was losing my mind. So I decided to put on Beyonce. Who runs the world? Girls. I just started to dance, and I let my anxiety go. Thank you, Beyonce.
I couldn't imagine that. I mean,
Yeah.
for a lot of reasons. Like, it's rough to sit in the trailer, I assume, and just wait on a thing that you're not even sure about.
Yeah.
But putting on Beyonce past that is just... I would be more nervous dancing alone to Beyonce.
Mm-hmm. That would feel weird.
I would feel weird. Yeah. That would be like... I would be more nervous about being found out in my trailer than I would going to show other people this new role that I was supposed to, like, audition for and didn't know about.
Right. It would be weird to me.
Yeah. That just feels super awkward.
She also mentions when she was chosen for the role, she said the internet freaked out. She said, my boobs were too small. Yeah, that was a big problem. The web really paid attention to the important side of Wonder Woman.
Oh, well phrased. Well done, lady.
There's also a bit where she talks about how she auditioned to be a Bond girl in Quantum of Solace, and she lost that role to Olga Kurylenko, but then later Olga lost the role of Wonder Woman to Gal.
Oh, yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And she talks about being pregnant on Justice League. She says, I found out I was pregnant while shooting Justice League. I had terrible migraines. I would show up in dark glasses, and they all thought I was going Hollywood. But I was only pregnant.
Everyone thought Percocet.
Yeah.
Come to find out, she's pregnant.
But yeah, it's a delightful little interview. Actually, kind of a big interview, but go check it out.
Yeah.
And now Patty Jenkins was on DC's YouTube channel talking about why the action scenes in Wonder Woman are going to be substantially different from other superhero films. She says every action sequence is from her point of view, from Wonder Woman's point of view, and for her story. And so there was no point in the movie that we ever stepped out and were like, look at this extravaganza. She witnesses a battle on a beach that rocks her world and changes her understanding of what warfare is. And then she comes to man's world, and she sees a war that everyone says is impenetrable, and nothing can be done about it. And she says, what am I going to do about it? So that was what was fun. And it makes it like everything else I've ever done, because you're just saying, here's my character, here's the journey that they're on, how do I want to experience that, and how do you do it?
Like it.
Yeah. So apparently...
And hope it holds up, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So this independent makeup brand Luxie is apparently releasing Wonder Woman makeup, and they're known for producing brushes and false eyelashes and eyeshadow palettes, and they've actually put up pictures of a compact that made me wish I wore makeup, because it is wonderfully designed with like the Wonder Woman symbol, but it looks very cool. Very, very cool.
Nice.
So, you gals out there, or men who want to wear, I've worn makeup for videos.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't think about that. I could totally do that.
Oh, yeah. No, it happens all the time. I used to laugh at people back in like high school where you would do your theater performance at like 10 o'clock, but you had the rest of the day to really go through it. But you had to actually get to class at a certain time because they would only time it. Like they would time it such that you had to go back to class pretty much like 10 minutes after you left, the last few scenes of your performance. Anyway, so yeah, you would go back to class with eyeliner and some weird blush and like you would just kind of go through about 3 or 4 periods or whatever it was with lots of makeup on. All you could pretty much do is laugh at it and hope everyone else was happy to laugh with you.
Yeah. But I hadn't considered, because we've talked about it before. We used to make videos on YouTube, and hopefully we will again someday.
Yeah,
but
sure. We'll get around it.
Yeah, and I could totally use that as an excuse to buy that Wonder Woman compact.
Yep.
And you know what? Like, I remember like the one of the first times we were gonna make a video, and it was a video that we shot. We never actually edited and put up because it was just a mess. We didn't do well with it, but so we were under a lot of time constraints. And basically, we decided that everything in the background had to be green screen, which was a poor choice. But Jason shows up to my apartment, and I'm wearing like falsies, and a bra and like a blouse, and I'm made up, and I've shaved my chest. And Jason walks in and goes, "Oh shit, you committed."
All right. Well, we're here to do this. Okay, I get it. No one's backseating this thing. We're doing this. Okay, got it.
Poor cashier at Walmart never looked at me the same way.
No, I know. I keep hoping you like expanded her world.
I don't know. One can hope.
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, the Luxie beauty line is all cruelty free and gluten free and all the good stuff. Farm fresh. I don't know. Whatever.
Allergen resistant.
Probably. One would hope. So over to Justice League. A new Justice League poster has been released. It's all of the Leaguers looking off into the distance with like a sunset behind them. Or a sunrise behind them. Whatever.
It looked pretty.
It looks like an Alex Ross painting. It says, Unite the League.
Yeah.
And in fact, Alex Ross had a picture of the poster, put up a picture of the poster on his Twitter next to one of his paintings that looks very similar.
Nice.
And he said, "Look familiar?" And a bunch of angry nerds told him no, and asked him who are you, and made fun of him. And I'm like, he's Alex Ross.
He's Alex Ross.
Daft dicks.
You sacks of crap.
Go look up Kingdom Come, Marvels, Earth X. I think pretty much every edition of the DC Comics Encyclopedia. Superman, Peace on Earth. Batman, War on Crime. Wonder Woman, Spirit of Truth. Justice. I mean, I could go on.
There are more examples, even from that.
So many more.
It's absurd. Yeah, like that's... Oh.
And if they weren't, if it just so happened that this is all like, it was all just somehow by happenstance, that those two pictures look similar, they should be making posters based on Alex Ross. Hell, they should be hiring Alex Ross to paint these bastards.
Look, I would be astounded if either Alex Snyder or his DP didn't know who Alex Ross was.
Oh, they absolutely know.
I mean, I just flabbergasted, take my last breath, puncture both my lungs kind of stuff. If they didn't know who that guy was.
And Jeff Johns certainly knows who Alex Ross
is. God, he worships him. I'm sure. Like, he absolutely knows that this guy is visually, God, unattainable. I mean, this guy makes this guy makes pictures that people don't even think are doable, and he does it in like an oil medium that you would think it's it's pretty incredible. You wouldn't think that someone could conceive of such like the composition he uses, and then it just happens in front of you, and you kind of gawk at it and go, "Holy shit, that happened."
Who is Alex Ross? He is the Norman Rockwell of the comic book world, people.
Pretty much, yeah.
So anyway, in that Justice League poster, Superman's still not in it, and people are still upset about that. But that'll be all right.
Yeah, you gotta wait for the film.
Michael McElhatton.
And that's the right choice, by the way, is wait for the film.
What? Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think you should, tell me he's going to be there. He was dead in the previous film. Just wait for the film.
Yeah. Michael McElhatton, I suppose that's how you pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He's apparently going to be in Justice League. He plays Roose Bolton in Game of Thrones. He says, the scene I did, well, at the moment, I can say it's a big kind of opening scene. It was pretty dark, actually, in its tone, but in a good way. I quite liked that. It wasn't comic booky, but you can thread a certain amount of humor in it, which maybe the previous one was lacking. There's probably going to be a lot more humor in it. I think would be the main difference compared to Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. I don't know who this guy could be playing. I don't know him.
Yeah, I don't know who he's playing, but that's the...
Well,
that's what I've heard about the tone anyway. Like, it's...
Yeah.
Like, that part's not news. It's going to be a little lighter than what you've seen before.
But, there's another... The important thing is there's like a big wig from Game of Thrones, because apparently the internet is breaking apart at the seams over this news.
Right.
I don't watch Game of Thrones. I haven't gotten around to it yet.
I don't either. I probably won't, and I'm sorry in advance. I'm not even going to go back for it. I'm going to tell you right now. You can badger me all you want. It's not going to happen.
I'm curious. It'll happen someday for me, probably.
It will not. I've done the math on it. I won't go back for it.
Yeah, I don't really care for a lot of fantasy type stuff.
Yeah.
The dragons and castles and stuff like that. I just I'm not big on the Harry Potter stuff. I'm not big on Lord of the Rings.
I did Harry Potter. I did Lord of the Rings. I just I'm not going back for this.
Yeah,
I've watched the highlights. Like I've seen the Red Wedding.
I don't even know what you're talking about. So I've purposefully kept away from Game of Thrones references.
Yeah,
because I assume I'll get to it someday.
I just kind of came to the point where I realized I was never going to get to that, and I just watched some of the highlights, so I knew it was kind of being talked about.
Yeah,
and called it a day.
Yeah, it's funny, people keep saying, well, what about, what about Better Call Saul season 2 and 3? They're going to be watched before Game of Thrones. Oh, okay, good. And Game of Thrones is awesome, and Walking Dead. I'm like, yeah, both of those are on maybe someday list, probably someday list. And then people are like, oh, wait, what about Legion? Legion's really good. And I'm like, yeah, that's going to happen before Game of Thrones or Walking Dead.
No, Legion is what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah, so, all
right, we're just humans, guys. We can be swayed, we can be convinced about certain things, but we can't take everything in. Better Call Saul, probably never going to happen for me. I'm probably never going to finish Breaking Bad. I had to admit to myself at some point.
Oh, buddy.
I know.
That's not.
And I love you, Dave.
That's not the thing to drop.
I love you, man. But that's the one where I was like, there's probably too much in here.
No.
Probably too much happening.
This has nothing to do with you loving me. This has to do with your loyalty to one Mr. Bob Odenkirk.
I love Bob Odenkirk. But ironically enough, he's one of the last episodes I saw where he stood up and said Better Call Saul, and did his catchphrase that apparently spawned another spinoff. And I made it one more episode and went, okay, I don't have time right now.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, I'm watching Legion and I'm having a fantastic time.
Yeah, well, I mean, one day all the comic book shows will be gone. You can get back to Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, because those are really phenomenal, man. Like, truly phenomenal stuff.
Like, I watched the first 3 seasons of Mad Men and then just kind of stopped. I have nothing against it. It was good. It was good when I stopped watching it. I
heard it stopped being good. I haven't seen it, though.
It apparently went into a lull around season 4, and then kind of picked up, and then like by the time it finished, it was back on top. I don't know.
The thing that vexes me is that you haven't seen, Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul at all, or finished Breaking Bad, or seen like any of Better. I was in the middle of qualifying that, but
sorry.
I know you've seen like a few seasons of Breaking
Bad, and
they
were great.
But and then knowing that you for a time at least watched Grimm and Misfits and all these terrible shows.
Wait.
Terrible shows.
Not true. Grimm and Sleepy Hollow. You want to say I was watching bad shows? I've got your back. I will help you kick my ass creatively for watching those shows. Misfits, different conversation.
I would watch you watch it, and you're like, I mean, a lot of it's kind of bad, but I mean, some of it has some fun ideas.
No, that one had some really fun ideas. Like, Misfits was worth it. That one was really worth it. Grimm, Sleepy Hollow, no.
Tomorrow People?
It had a potential. It really did have it could have been. Like, it's one of those ideas where you think, oh, this could be worth it. And then it didn't pan out.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Sorry.
Look at us. We had some bat wieners in there after all.
Yeah. We do what we do.
I don't know if you've seen this news, but Dolph Lundgren has joined Aquaman.
Oh, cool.
He's going to be playing King Nereus of the Kingdom of Zabel, who claims Mira and tries to kill Aquaman.
All cool. Okay. Yeah, I'm down.
And Jason Momoa posted a thing that, may actually be telling. He posted a picture a couple of pictures with Patrick Wilson on his Instagram. The caption read, Arthur and King Orm. King Orm.
King Orm particularly? Yeah.
Yeah. The word king being the interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
He says, my real half-brother is on Twitter only, at Patrick Wilson 73. So happy to work with this talent. But King Orm is the operative thing here.
Yep.
So, subverting expectations, I suppose. And Amber Heard is apparently new to Twitter. Jeff Johns welcomed her at Real Amber Heard if you want to go and follow her.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts about King Orm?
Yeah, that could work. I mean, Arthur being part of the Justice League could be like a neat diversion.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that if it's King Orm and there's no disruption of that right now, that could be part of the Aquaman film, and
Yeah, it could be like a once and future king type of situation.
Yeah, we can also get a lot of screen time with Patrick Wilson, who I think is very talented.
Yeah, he can do a good job.
Yeah,
with all of that.
Like I approve of what's happening so far.
All right, we got one more piece of news here. I don't know what that was.
That was me being terrified.
Oh, Joe Manganiello met with Deathstroke co-creator Marv Wolfman. Marv says, after a great lunch with Joe Manganiello, I feel more confident than ever that we got both the Slade Wilson the movies need and the Deathstroke great movies deserve.
Okay.
So apparently Deathstroke is still on. He's still on to be in the Batman.
Deathstroke seems to still be on, and the need deserve, quote, seems to indicate to me that he's seen some Christian Bale Batman.
Uh-huh. Who hasn't?
Yeah.
Who doesn't know that quote?
Yeah, but it's like worth making fun of at this point. It's kind of one of those like nonsensical terms that's hilarious. Like, I loved the movie, I really did. But like, you get to that point in it, and you think, what does that even fucking mean? What are you doing here?
Yeah.
What's happening? Explain yourself. No, it was good wordplay. Explain yourself. Sit down, mister, and explain.
All right.
It's a timeout.
So, it's going to be it's a relatively short episode of the movie show, of the DCEU show.
Huh? They will happen.
Because we're done.
They'll happen from time to time.
So, if you want to hear more of our pontifications on past news, you can find every episode at dconscreen.com. We also have recaps and reviews over there. You can contact us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at DCOnScreen, one word, or email us, dconscreen@gmail.com. I personally am also on Twitter and Instagram at David Z. Robertson. Listeners to the show have taken to just messaging me on those platforms under my actual name. And that's fine. It's a little off-putting, but it's fine. I've gotten used to it now. I was like, how did you find me? Dave, you say your name every episode. Oh, yeah.
And there's no disguising.
So I'm warming up to it.
Yeah.
And I believe by next week we should have it set up to where you guys can leave voicemails for us. So that'll be fun.
Oh yeah.
We are proud members of the Giant Size Team Up Network, giantsizeteamup.com. You got to go check out some of these shows: Breaking the Panel, Rock God of Podcasting, Booze and Phasers, Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, a whole bunch of stuff to go check out over there. And if you are a regular listener to our show and like what we do, please consider giving us a positive review on iTunes or Stitcher, or just telling friends who might enjoy the show. We are going to be coming right back with DC TV news. So until then, keep some DC on your screen.